Mr. President, representatives of states parties to the Arms Trade Treaty, representatives of signatory states, representatives of observer states, representatives of international and regional organizations, representatives of civil society organizations, representatives of NGOs, and representatives of industry. Permit me to express my profound thanks and appreciation for the work all of us have put together in holding the 6th Conference of State Parties amidst the exceptional constraints imposed on us by the COVID-19 pandemic. Like many other organizations, we in the ATT community have also not allowed the COVID-19 to hamper our program of work and have risen to the challenge by holding the 6th Conference of State Parties through the written procedure, a decision state parties made via silence procedure. Thank you, Mr. President, the Bureau, members of the management committee, the working group chairperson and facilitators, and of course, the staff of our secretariat for their relentless efforts to make this possible. I speak to you on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, the incoming president of the 7th Conference of State Parties. This is both an opportunity and a privilege for Sierra Leone, which we gladly receive and appreciate on behalf of the African Group and the entire ATT community. Sierra Leone is among the 50 founding state parties of the ATT. We have a long history of supporting the regulation of international trade in conventional arms. Our bitter experience of brutal civil war prepared us for that. Though the war ended in 2002, we continue to witness the consequences of war to date. We know the horrors wars perpetuated by illicit flow of arms in the hands of unscrupulous dealers. We know of those horrors. We went through them. And we also went through a successful disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration program, which included child soldiers. And that DDR component received wide international commendation. Before becoming a state party to the ATT, Sierra Leone fully embraced the ECOWAS's Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, the ammunition and other related materials, which was adopted in 2006. And in 2010, the Sierra Leone National Commission on Small Arms Act, number 6 of 2010, was passed to establish a National Commission for the Control of the Proliferation of Illicit Weapons in the country. Together, the Sierra Leone National Commission on Small Arms is actively involved in the control and use of small weapons in compliance with ECOWAS's convention. The Commission on Small Arms work has enabled Sierra Leone to submit its report to the ATT. The experience, together with the commitment of the ATT community, Sierra Leone hopes to provide leadership to the ATT for the 7th Conference of State Parties. Sierra Leone's presidency will be dedicated towards working tirelessly with fellow state parties and other stakeholders to advance the principles, objectives, and purposes enshrined in the Arms Trade Treaty. Among other priority areas, Sierra Leone's presidency will foster consensus among all stakeholders to regulate the international trade in conventional arms effectively and to prevent their diversion. State parties bear the primary responsibility of establishing and implementing national control systems so that rogue dealers or brokers and unscrupulous persons will find it extremely hard or impossible to exploit the international trade in conventional weapons. International cooperation and assistance will help state parties to establish the highest possible common international standards for regulating or improving the regulation of the international trade in conventional arms in our respective national jurisdictions. Against this background, decisions of the ATT stakeholders should strengthen the various working groups and, where necessary, establish bodies or committees to accomplish the objectives and purposes of the ATC. As we look forward to the future, and in particular the coming year, several challenges require our collaborative efforts to address them. Number one, we need to redouble our collective efforts in universalization of the ATT so that we will strengthen the norms to effectively regulate the international trade in conventional arms and to prevent their diversion. States and other actors, including conventional arms producers and exporters that have not yet signed on, ratified, or acceded to the ATT, should be actively encouraged to do so to address the illicit proliferation of and trade in conventional arms. Number two, international cooperation and international assistance provided for, respectively, in Articles 15 and 16 of the ATT require our collaborative attention. Together, the ATT community can offer institutional capacity building, support, and legislative, technical, material, or financial support, assistance. They could also provide expertise to be shared among state parties in developing national implementation plans and reporting mechanisms, effective stockpile management, disarmament, demobilization, reintegration, and in other areas as well related to this work. The ATT Voluntary Fund, that's number three, and the ATT sponsorship programs are other aspects of our work that will enhance international cooperation and should attract international assistance. For this reason, the plan reviewed during the 7th Conference of State Parties should therefore be critical to the work of the ATT. The ATT should always seek to be better in what it does, in what we do. That's point number 4. Gender issues such as gender equality and empowerment of women should therefore be central to our work. The aim of the African Union's campaign of, in quote, silencing the guns in Africa by 2020 is consistent with the ATT's main purpose of contributing to international peace and security and regional stability, enhancing human security and reducing human suffering, enhancing transparency and responsible action by state parties in the international trade in conventional arms, and thereby building confidence among state parties. In conclusion, Mr. President, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, ambassadors and permanent representatives from Africa for reposing trust and confidence in me to assume this position. And I look forward to faithfully working with all regional groupings and all stakeholders to achieve the objectives and purposes of the ATT. I would also like to call upon all stakeholders to renew our commitment to the principles of the ATT and to help secure a world that is safer, more peaceful, and more secure. Mr. President, delegates, stakeholders, friends, I thank you.